The first part I want to talk on is about how to plan a success, and that's actually comprised of three steps. I called it SPOT model. It stands for the starting point, right safe, and takeoff. And let's start at the beginning. The first point would be the starting point. And the most crucial part in planning a startup is actually know what you're going to build, because if you plan to build a skyscraper, it's different than building a small home. When you plan on building something grandiose, you have to actually know that you know how to do it. You can't start decide that you build a skyscraper, but you don't dig the foundations deep enough. And most startups actually want to build a skyscraper. Most startups say, well, I want to be $1 billion company. Well, in order to get to be a $1 billion company, you have to dig real deep foundations. Otherwise, the entire tower will collapse. And when I'm saying foundations, that deals with your management skills, that deals with marketing, that deals with how you're going to develop it, in what stages. You can't just say, well, it's going to have to be a skyscraper and all of a sudden it's there. So however, you can execute it real quickly, and that actually by following those simple steps. And I'm going to give you the 5 steps for planning. Why should we plan? Actually, planning gives us peace of mind, and that peace of mind is caused by the clarity that we've got what we need to do in every single in every single stage. We know that we don't have to just run and keep inventing ourselves from all over again. We know how much money do we have. We know what we need to do every point of the way. And once you have that, you can be focused on getting and achieve your goals. And as I said, it's easy as 1, 2, and 3. And one of the things that I find that startups, because they want to move real quickly, they think they can have shortcuts. And what happens with shortcuts? It seldom succeed. You might get some way forward, but all of a sudden you'd be stuck in and go back thousands of steps backwards. And that could be due to regulation, that could be due to lack of fund, that could be just because you can't handle the capacity. Company collapses not just because they have no sales. One could actually deal with no sales, because if you don't have any sales, you can improve your marketing and sales techniques and start improving it. But if you all of a sudden you can't handle huge masses of sales, what happens is that your reputation is going to be damaged. Your customers won't return, and a company would get into a dead end because it sold a lot, but if the quality is not good, then the customers are going to put out a bad reputation for the company, and from that, recovering from that is very difficult. So here are the steps: project charter, marketing requirements documents, the product requirements documents, research and development, and go to market and get funded. And let's start with the first stage. The first stage, when you plan success, you have to first plan from the end backwards. For instance, first you need to know what you're going to build, and then you collect all the information for that. And you say that I want to get to a business meeting at 9 o'clock in the morning. Then you plan backwards on when do you want to get out of the house, or when do you want to get up. And then you start to execute moving forward. So when talking about project charter, that's the beginning of planning. It's actually knowing what your vision is. It's actually the project charter is your motivation. It's what actually drives you forward and overcome obstacles and things that comes in the way. And it should be comprised of: why are you starting this startup? The why is usually the values that you want to bring to your customers. It's why do you want to undertake that huge, difficult task? It's the most important thing at being, why do you want to make that change? But the why is a very strong internal driven force that tells us that I want to do it for the sake of satisfaction, for the sake of the challenge, for the sake of improving mankind. It's really a strong motivator that can increases the ambition and motivation to do everything that in order to make it successful. Second part of the project charter is the roadmap. A roadmap is the milestones that we want to go. In a sense, it's breaking down the huge task into smaller tasks that actually shows us that it's achievable and easy to perform. And if we don't have those small base camps along the way, it's like saying, well, I want to climb the Everest, but once you come to the Everest base and the Everest, I would say, once you come to just look at the Everest, it's a huge mountain. So I've got no way of climbing it. But once you say, well, several base camps along the way, then the mission could be still very difficult, but it's achievable. So you have to recognize the steps along the way that you're going to go through. And those actually would say, well, first I'll go to the very easy one, then the next, and eventually you climb along the way and become easier and easier. And from step to step, you become acclimated to the weather in that step. You can't go all of a sudden to 8,000 meters and say, I've got air there. You have to go through 100 meters to begin with and get the ball rolling. Having those milestones increase motivation, it increases the momentum. You start small, but it grows big. It starts from a small seed that keeps gathering energy, keep gathering speed, and it becomes bigger and bigger. Then you have to define your key performance indicator, meaning that what is success? You can't just say, well, I'm going to be successful. Big picture, what you're going to achieve. And again, that would help us plan in small details, whatever you want. And in my book, those that don't have a vision can't see and will end up hitting a wall. If you don't have a vision, you don't have a compass, you don't have a navigator, how to navigate there. And these are the steps. First, the values that you want, your core values, then the milestones, the major steps that you want to go along the way that will allow you to keep gathering momentum, and eventually what is success for you, the exact, if you can't quantify, if you can't determine it in exact numbers and times, you can't manage it. After setting your project charter, you start executing. And the first step in executing would be writing down marketing requirement document. This is the acronym marketing requirement document. And a document, because if it's not written, you're not going to be able to remember it. It comprises of the strategy. Strategy is you want to know your market from day one. And a strategy is choosing between several ways, several options. All are good, but they can't happen simultaneously. And options mean you can go on a high-end product, you can go on a lower-end product, but you need to know for sure if you're going in one way or another. It can't be both high-end and low-end at the same time. And choosing this way, you can't choose just by guessing. Sure, you could trust your intuition, but you should trust your intuition, but you should back it up with facts. And the way to back it up with facts, it's actually talking to the market. Even before you started the development, you should talk to your market and talk to people and gather as much information, have marketing surveys done, and get somebody to be your devil's advocate. And for that, people always say, well, I don't want to disclose my ID. I don't want somebody to actually steal my ID. And probably you're going to nod and accept your yes. I don't want no one to know what I'm doing. Sure, you don't want anybody to see your ID, but you want to know that it's going to have some impact. And for that, you don't have to say, well, if I invent this product, are you going to use it? This is not a question that you should ask. You could ask your needs of your market and just ask for needs and then write all those needs down. And you have to not just meet those requests. You need to check on several people from different groups of different places and corroborate your information. So you're not just guesswork what you need to do. And as long as you have those information, it will be easy for you to correct along the way and see that you're actually on point. As long as you've got indicators, you know exactly how you want to impact, then you know if you are on your way or either you have to change. And the fourth part of it is that usually startups change their direction, meaning a company started as one and then changed to another. Microsoft, which is not a startup, of course, but when it started, it developed an operating system. But as we see, company grows and changing, and instead of selling a product, Microsoft today sells services. But Microsoft is a huge company, so they change from selling a product to selling a service. But as a startup, we haven't got the luxury of actually starting in a mistake. So we have to change sometimes what the company is doing. And we don't know how to change or how to decide where to change to if we don't have some information if we are on track or not. So, as I said, our guide is the market. We need to look at the market and say, are we going to have a product market fit? It's all about having the greatest product market fit possible. And a good stop is one that could fit and change and make alterations as it goes. And the best way to do alterations is when you've got the budget and when you've got this plan to begin with. So after we've got the marketing requirements document, we go to product requirements document, which means that we go into details, technological details on how we're going, the architecture, what are the main components, what is a good product, how we're going to QA it. We need to keep it simple, stupid. We want control acceleration, meaning that we want to get to a product out there in minimal risk and with the budget in mind. And for that, if we start by investing the time before actually writing down the first line or writing down the code line or before building anything, to begin with, going on over those steps and defining the budget and leaving some budget out there for emergencies and deciding on how we're going to test and how to validate and verify the product, then it'd be easier for us to meet our deadlines. And for that, I was saying, then return to the fact that we need people that could help us in marketing and development. That's why usually a team is comprised both of technological people and marketing people. And if you don't have it on the team, then get somebody as a freelance to help you out. You can't have it done all of it by yourself. Rarely companies succeed by one-man show. Usually a company is comprised of several people, each one with its own expertise. And when taking all those together and have one that manages it allows us to actually move real quickly. This is also why there's one method in programming called Agile. Very common. Scrum and Agile are methods that were built along the assumption that you have to know what you're going to build, plan at the beginning, and then correct quickly as you go. It's very much similar to what I'm describing It's here, and that's why I'm describing here is actually deciding what the key performance indicators are and actually going forward and correct as you go. as far as development itself, you have to remember several parts. First of all, you have to meet your budget. Budget, if you are left without the budget, getting new money is very difficult if you're not selling yet. If you don't have any success in the past, if you don't have any proof of success from past projects, and you don't have sales and marketing right now, and you ran out of money, if you got to the end of your tarmac and you can't take off, and you have more to raise more money, then most investors will say, well, I don't want to be the first one. Let me see if somebody else invests, and then I'll know if I invest too. So the budget is crucial. You have to keep it simple. And as long as you keep it simple and stay in plan, then you better get a lesser product out there, but stay in budget rather than run out of budget and say, well, I need more now. Second thing is, it's not about getting a lesser product, but you have to be focused on what would be the MVP that you think would get some money. It's not going to get you all the money, but it's going to provide you with proof that you were actually successful in answering some need. So once you add more features and you start to deviate from the plan, and you think, well, this is a crucial feature and this is a crucial feature, and all of a sudden you add lots of features, and even though if you stayed in budget and you got all the features there, but the chance it will work properly are very slim to none. The more features you have, the more chances it's not going to work properly. So less features, but make sure that the features that are there are working and you have some traction in the market. For that, you have to set the milestones for development, and you have to have self-discipline and not deviate for no good reason. Once you're at the end and you actually verify that the product works and validates that it actually meets the market needs, then you can actually start and adding features or correcting, but you've got some budget left.